It's Tuesday, July 28th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Tributes continue to pour in for former Prime Minister Owen Arthur as Barbados enters a second day of national mourning. The 70-year-old former leader died yesterday at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The business community has joined in the tributes. The Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry said Arthur was an exemplary leader who contributed to the development of Barbados and the region at large, especially as it relates to economic stability, development and growth. Chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Edward Clark, described Arthur as an outstanding Caribbean statesman, a strong political leader and gifted economist. In a tearful tribute, prominent businessman Ralph Busy Williams described Professor Arthur as a visionary.
I am very saddened by the passing of our ex-Prime Minister Owen Arthur, who eventually became a friend of mine, and I had great respect for him. I remember meeting him first when we were trying to get permission to build Port St. Charles, and he eventually decided he would lock us all in the cabinet room with all the government bureaucrats, and he announced at that meeting that he was leaving the room and locking the door, and we would either come to a decision on whether the project was going to be approved, or we would decide otherwise. But there was going to be no more wasting of time. Now that project proved to me that Mr. Owen Arthur was a visionary. Port St. Charles brought over $350 million into Barbados in direct investments.
In other news, on day one on the job as tourism minister, Senator Lisa Cummins said Barbados will be sending a clear message that it is a safe destination. The minister made the comment yesterday as she moved into her Warren's office.
We are positioning ourselves and to get the message out there that we are a responsible tourism destination. We are practicing social distancing. We're following the protocols. We're increasing the number of tests. We're looking at the quarantines and isolation facilities to ensure that we have the capacity to meet the numbers that are coming in. We're working with the airlines. We're working with the cruise lines in terms of resumption protocols. That is a responsible destination, and that's what Barbados' brand also is likely to evolve into while we're navigating the COVID-19 pandemic challenges.
Minister Cummins added that the island must move in a new direction to revive the tourism sector.
We will have an opportunity to retool, retrain, refashion, upskill, reposition, re-strategize, create new tactical approaches so that by the time international travel gets going again, Barbados, we're hoping, along with the team, the exceptional team that is here at the ministry that has all this experience, and those who will come on board and add voice and perspective to this issue, that Barbados will emerge in a space that we could not have anticipated as a result of the challenging time that forces us to be at our most innovative. So I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley is urging CARICOM countries to put in place strategies that will ensure the financial stability of regional organizations such as the Regional Security System. Her plea came yesterday as regional leaders discussed the impact of the coronavirus on the region during a virtual conference by the CARICOM Implementation Agency for Crime and Security. The event is being held under the theme Securing Our Caribbean Community Within the Era of COVID-19 and Beyond.
There has to be stability, and Prime Minister Gonzalez made this point on the 3rd of July when I handed over to him. We cannot, Prime Minister Mitchell, I know, is supportive in his own way. We cannot ignore the elephant in the room, which is the funding necessities for these regional entities that are going beyond the call of duty to make our lives easier at the national level. What impacts does for us, there is no single Caribbean nation who can provide us and have the capacity to do the advanced passenger information system scrubbing, both against Interpol as well as against the United States government entities. These things are critical, not just for the lower end, but also the higher end problems that are that are known to the international community, but for which we ought still to be sensitive and vigilant to ensure that it is not imported into our states to create an additional problem beyond public health, beyond climate crisis, to security issues that go way beyond our ability to punch or to reach.
The Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners is prescribing that government goes a bit further with travel regulations put in place in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. While BAMP applauded the Mayor Mortley-led administration on its handling of the pandemic thus far, it said officials must remain cognizant that the battle is not yet over and nothing could be more devastating than a second wave of COVID-19 infections. It said given that the island had already recorded several imported cases of the virus, persons entering the country should ideally still be quarantined for 14 days, given the risk of contracting the infection on boarding, during, or on disembarking a flight. BAMP believed that additional COVID-19 PCR testing of all persons arriving from high and medium risk countries should be mandatory and subsidized by the traveler, in addition to the required 72-hour negative PCR test prior to departure. The association said it also believed that it was premature to relax restrictions on public gatherings, but said it remained open for ongoing discussions with the government and all stakeholders involved in the development of protocols to preserve and protect the health and safety of the Barbadian public.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, the COVID-19 count in the Bahamas is now over 300, and the situation has prompted the Pan American Health Organization country representative to urge residents to take the protocols put in place seriously. More in this report from ZNS News.
Treat every person that you meet as a potential infected individual.
That's the advice from country representative for the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Esther de Gorval, who told our news team on Monday that as cases rise, the population must continue to be vigilant.
For the country and the population to cooperate in coming forward for testing if people are symptomatic, and cooperating with the health authorities who are conducting contact tracing. There are very limited opportunities for public health intervention with this virus. And the only way in which we can interrupt transmission chains is by identifying cases, isolating them, and testing their contacts.
Grand Bahama has seen an exponential rise in COVID-19 positive cases, with the most recent count up to Sunday at 169. The competent authority, as a result, has reestablished lockdowns and a new curfew in a bid to stem the spread.
And finally, in the U.S., Republicans have proposed spending an additional $1 trillion to address the economic damage caused by the coronavirus pandemic. We get more in this report from Reuters TV.
Senate Republicans have authored another bold framework to help our nation.
Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced a new $1 trillion coronavirus aid package on Monday that slashes the expiring $600 a week in expanded unemployment benefits to $200 a week.
The Republican plan is weak tea.
Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called the GOP proposal too limited compared to the Democrats' $3 trillion proposal passed by the House in May.
In short, the Republican plan is too little, too late.
McConnell called that House bill a socialist manifesto and urged Democrats to work with Republicans on his plan.
The Senate will not waste time with pointless partisanship
McConnell said the GOP package focused on getting children back to school and employees back to work and protecting corporations from lawsuits.
Liability protection.
The Republican proposal also includes measures not directly related to the COVID-19 outbreak, including $1.8 billion for construction of a new FBI headquarters in Washington, something championed by President Donald Trump, who owns a hotel across the street from the current building. The extra $600 in unemployment funds, which expire this week, have been a sticking point for many Republicans, who say they encourage Americans to stay home rather than go back to work, as the expanded benefits exceed the former wages of some workers.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.